A barrister has told Sky News she was astounded to receive a message from a lawyer on LinkedIn complimenting her on a stunning picture. Alexander Carter-Silk has now apologised to Charlotte Proudman after she described it as offensive and posted a picture of his original message on Twitter.
LinkedIn, which is a professional networking site of which I'm there to connect with other lawyers on a professional basis, not to be objectified on the basis of my physical appearance. Now, I chose to include that message within a tweet on Twitter because I wanted to know how many other women had experienced sexism in professional spaces, in the workplace and online.
Well, let's talk now to the barrister Harini Iyengar, who specialises in discrimination and employment law. She joins us now from central London. Harini Iyengar, I'm just looking at the guidelines that LinkedIn put out. They ask their users to behave professionally by not being dishonest or appropriate. They also say they don't want you to use LinkedIn to shock or intimidate others. Do you agree that it's unacceptable to comment on someone's look in a forum like LinkedIn?
Yes, I think that LinkedIn is widely known as a professional social media platform, and most people are on there conducting themselves in the same way that they'd conduct themselves in their professional office. And if we read the whole message that was sent to this barrister, it concludes by saying, having said essentially he finds her sexually attractive, she looks stunning, it concludes by saying interested in knowing how we could work together. So I think most people would read that as more of a proposition than just somebody saying you look lovely or great photo. And given what we know about their relationship, it comes unwelcome and unwanted to her. And so I think most people, and a lot of male lawyers whose comments I've seen, find that out of order and something that they wouldn't have done themselves.
Well, yes, and this story has provoked an awful lot of comment. Some people saying, what's the fuss about? He was just paying her a compliment and he has since apologised.
I think that's the really interesting aspect of this, because I think the legal profession has changed a lot. It's been modernised a lot over recent years. Obviously, there's still an issue with women dropping out of our profession, but a lot's being done by the professional associations and by law firms and by barristers' chambers to try and retain women and make the profession appealing to younger women. But a lot of the things, this type of interchange where somebody makes a sexual advance in a forum where it's not really welcome, probably 10, 15 years ago it would have been in the corner at a drinks party. What's interesting about this is it's happened online, and as well as snubbing him, she's had the opportunity now, because of social media, to publicise it and tell people, look, he really said this to me. And obviously some people have said she shouldn't have done that, and people have even suggested it was private. I think that just illustrates one of the minefields about office flirtation and the line between harassment and flirtation, what's welcome and what isn't. And the youngest generation of women are taking advantage of the opportunity they have now because of social media to expose this kind of everyday sexism.
Well, yes, and some people who, again, it's a huge range of opinions. Some people who say, yes, I agree that it was inappropriate, but I don't think this person should be named. Maybe their actions should be shamed, but they needn't necessarily be subject to what they see as a kind of mob justice that you can get on social media.
I think that's a very difficult issue, because something that, say, 20 years ago, if he'd said that at a drinks party, I suppose it would have been the woman's option to speak to him quietly, or she could have said, oh my God, in a big voice, did you know what this guy's just said to me? So the opportunity to name and shame has always been there, but the electronic technical capacities now can make something a huge story. And I suppose as a lawyer, one has to conduct oneself on email and on social media in the knowledge that what we say could be passed around. And my experience is that most male lawyers on Twitter and on social media are aware of that risk, and they think twice about what they say on those social media platforms.
Well, yes, and Charlotte Proudman herself, I spoke to her a short time ago. She said she thought that sexism was rampant in the legal profession. Do you think it's worse in the legal profession than any other professions?
Well, unfortunately, I do see sex discrimination across all industry sectors. I've been at the bar for 15 years. I'm proud of what the profession's done to try and improve the situation for women at the bar and try and make sure that equality is a reality. it's a difficult balance to strike because on the one hand, people like Charlotte Proudman who've had an experience, it belongs to them, and if they want to expose everyday sexism, it's for them to decide how to conduct themselves. It's not for others to say, I think, how people should and shouldn't react to what they find insulting and offensive. But at the same time, when we see schoolgirls asking about the profession, we don't want to discourage them. What I can say is that it's a minority of men, whether it's the law or any other industry sector, it's a minority of men who seem to have a problem in knowing what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and what's welcome and what's unwelcome. And the good thing is that there's a lot of training available, serious and management training for people who are having a problem knowing, what's okay, what's not okay to say, what's bullying and what's not bullying.
Okay, Harini Iyengar, very interesting to get your views on this. Thank you.
Thank you.